And there we go. Well, here we are today. Hush Hush Biz is talking to filmmaker Joylan Hoff, who has been very busy. How are you?
Hey Caroline, how are you? I'm good, thanks. I'm good. Yeah, I have been busy, but having a lot of fun.
Well, that's good. That's a really good one to always inject with work, fun.
Yeah, yeah.
And oh look, we're excited to hear about your new film. You Should Be Here, which has just been you've just obviously been doing a lot of cinema Q&As and
Mm,
screenings,
mm,
special screenings with
mm,
around Australia. This has been distributed by Umbrella Entertainment, which is great. I
mm,
love those guys. And
mm.
it's a surf culture film, which is
Yeah.
paying a lot of homage to some amazing, footage that you've obviously
Mm.
collected with great soundtracks. Uh,
Incredible soundtrack. Yeah,
yeah.
by
And
Murray Patterson and Headland. They're absolutely amazing.
well, tell us all about it because, for me, I'm sad to say I haven't been able to even see the film, but it's coming out this Thursday, and I'll be obviously heading into the cinema to go and see it.
Well,
So,
that's the best place to see it. Up on the big screen, it looks
yeah,
so beautiful. And the
that's
process
where I'd
we
love to
went
be.
to make this film, we what we did is, in Australia in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, there was a whole circuit of surf films, and the surf filmmakers would make the films, and then they would travel them up and down the coast. And what I realized is, and they were really important films culturally and socially, that if you
Mm,
wanted to see surfing, if you wanted to come together with the other young people of the time, you had to
mm.
go to the surf film. So they became big community events that brought everybody together. And what I realized was that those films were kind of wasting away, kind of degrading in the garages and under the beds of all the old filmmakers because they were kind of outside the system, so they weren't able to kind of maintain and look after that material. So yeah, we went around and we found all those old filmmakers and we scanned and restored all the old footage we could find, about 150 hours of footage. It took about 14 months,
Wow.
scan full time. And yeah, and then we used that material to make a film. And the footage is just stunning. I mean, absolutely beautiful. It was all shot on 16 mil, so it's analog.
Yes.
The,
Yeah.
the digital technology is such that we can scan those frames to 4K, and then we use that material to make a film which kind of tells the story of surfing from the 50s and 60s through to the 80s, and all the kind of different progressions and the different social changes that happened over that time.
Oh, fantastic. Did you oversee a lot of the editing of the film? Or
Yeah. No, I'm the director. I'm responsible for yeah, the editing, absolutely. So yes, but it took a long time. It took about 14 months to do the scanning, and then we were editing for about 5 months because once we had the footage there,
yeah.
50 hours was all beautiful. But the question became, how do you weave that into a story? How do you use that footage to create a narrative out of that footage? And yeah, so that took quite a while for us to find that that narrative structure, which we ended up kind of just relying on the footage itself to kind of tell this story of the movement. And it's kind of Australian surfing, but it's also kind of a movement of youth culture over the time, and kind of a
Mm.
story of modern Australia in a way, this kind of coming of age period of Australia from the end of the Second World War through to about the turn of the century, this kind of trajectory that we went where the young people's left the cities and, didn't want to live that boring 50s life, and then discovered new ways to live, and then maybe got caught up a little bit, too out there. And then the 80s where everything just shifted to this incredible commercialism and capitalism. So, you can see this in the footage as clear as day. So let
Fantastic.
that tell the story. Yeah.
Fantastic. And you've also brought in some really amazing people that are being
Mm,
interviewed in this. Uh,
mm,
Tim Winton, Bob
mm.
McIntosh, Wayne Lynch, Abe
Yeah.
Headland. Yeah. So collectively, all of these people,
Yeah, look, there's a collection of surfers and
yeah,
people within surfing that I find interesting who, have something to say. And some of them are well-known, great surfers, but others
yeah,
are people that are writers like Tim
yeah,
or Mick Sowry is another person who's not known as a surfer, but he's a beautiful photographer and has spent a lot of time musing and thinking on what the importance of, what surfing means and its importance, whether it's at a cultural level or at a kind of connection to country level or health level or a community level, all of those things. So it's, yeah, it's a real broad spectrum. Some of the old filmmakers, the ones that were still around, we spoke to. Yeah, and then they all give yeah, lots of kind of interesting wisdoms and perspectives on the whole journey.
it's fantastic. So obviously you've been, on a pretty impressive, tour. How's the film been received so far? You
Oh, it's
know,
fantastic. It's
yeah.
fantastic. You always get a little bit worried and
Oh,
but it's been amazing. We just toured the film from Noosa to Noarlunga tomorrow. We've got a sold out Q&A screening in Noarlunga in South Australia. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, look, every screening we got, full houses and lots of people, and it
Mm,
was there were a few there was so many things. I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of work, but I really enjoyed kind of hanging out with everyone. But what was great was up and down the coast, every town we went to, there was a community. So there was a community, and in that community there were the old guys and women and the salty old guys, and then the young kids, and then the up and coming kids that want to be part of it. And there's this whole beautiful community that kind of comes together around this story. And in every town, they were the same. They looked the same. We'd be at the cinema beforehand, and you could see them coming. Oh, that's our tribe. That's our
yes,
people. They all a little bit weathered, a little bit weathered, but all very lovely and genuine and thoughtful and
yeah,
caring people. So yeah, it was fantastic. And then also on the tour, a lot of the old legends or people from the footage kind of came, and
mm,
afterwards we do Q&A after the film. I'd invite them to do Q&A with me, and they always provided really incredible insights into the footage that I'd never considered. So yeah, so that was a lot of fun.
mm.
Yeah, so yeah, really, really terrific.
Oh, this is fantastic for the history.
Mm.
Sort of,
Yeah, it's great for the history. It's the history of it's the history of Australian surfing. It's the history of Australian youth culture.
yeah,
It's kind of the history of Australia in a lot of ways, but because this surfing footage that they shot in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, particularly, this was
yeah,
the first time that kids had picked up the camera and started filming themselves. So
right.
before that, the only footage you saw was by government agencies, or maybe it came out of America, or it was by Film Australia, or it was or TV networks. This is
Yeah,
the first time that the kids went, "Hey, our friends are doing something really cool.
yeah,
We're going to capture and film that." So at great efforts and great expense, they got their hands on cameras and they got their hands on 16 millimeters film,
mm,
and they traveled around to capture those moments that they knew would get the excitement of the audience. And so they really, they really were at the forefront and the vanguard of that whole movement. And if you look today, it's amazing. All the kids are, whatever they're into and whatever they're doing, they're all filming it and sharing stories and saying, "Hey, we're doing this over here, or we're doing that over there." And they really, they really are at the beginning of a kind of monumental change of young people kind of standing up and saying, "Oh, this is what we find. This is the direction we want to go in."
yeah, yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. Are you a surfer yourself back in
Yeah.
era? No.
Yeah, yeah, I'm a lifelong surfer. I'm kind of I'm a filmmaker more than a surfer. I've never been deep in the surfing culture. I've never worked in the surf world or anything like that. But so I'm a lifelong surfer and who works as a filmmaker. So yeah, it was
Yeah,
a great opportunity to kind of combine those two worlds.
yeah. Oh,
and,
then
and and kind of think a little bit and spend a bit of time really thinking about what surfing means to me and what it
yeah,
is in my life and to my family and my friends and people I know.
yeah,
Yeah, so it gave me a great opportunity to spend a lot of time thinking about surfing's role in Australia and surfing's role in in so many areas, whether it's culture, whether it's community, whether it's family, whether it's connection to country,
yes,
whether
yes,
it's political,
yeah,
health, mental health. A lot of surfers are pretty wild. There's we go to the ocean for solace, or we go to the ocean to kind of
yes,
to connect or to rinse and so
yeah.
it was a great opportunity to kind of think about all of those things around surfing.
Yeah, I agree that I
Mm.
don't know. The ocean is, I don't know, full of amazing statements, isn't it?
Mm.
And yet it is, when it in the deep end, it looks so I don't know, so unreal, but it has a scary element to me. Like,
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
always shy of actually swimming out because,
Yeah.
the elements that could be underneath or whatever, but it's my favorite place to
Well, I think
get.
the ocean teaches us so many things. Maybe it teaches us caution, or it teaches us if you do swim out, it teaches you that you can be brave and that you can those
Yeah,
waves, you can deal with those waves, and or those waves can give you a great thrill or excitement. There's something in the air about it. I also think I've begun to spend some time pondering on uh, the idea that surfers and anyone really that connects with this country and with the natural world and we connect in so many different ways, but
mm,
surfers are quite obsessive about it. But what
mm,
I began to realize that is those places like
mm,
might have been North Bondi in the corner there, or Lennox Head, or Byron Bay, or Bells Beach, or these these kind of beautiful formations in the earth that we go and we're drawn to, and we pilgrimage to them. Really, we go and we visit them, and then we in those spaces we might meet friends, we might take girlfriends or boyfriends, and we kind of we kind of we revere those kind of grand places, these beautiful headlands and these beaches. The
yeah,
surfers will follow a beach like we'll know where the sand's moving, in what how the sand's moving. You can't even see it; it's under the water, but we're watching the waves, so we know as the sand moves down or a big storm comes in and rips it out, and we're watching it. Hundreds, thousands of people at any beach are all watching this, and I began to think, even though surfing's only 3 or 4 generations old,
yeah,
we have this incredible love for those places. And I see it now being handed down through generations and care being taken around those spaces and surfers slowly kind of realizing how important these places are, those waves, the environment,
yeah,
and then through that connection to country becoming, it switched on to the environment or switched on to, oh, we have to look after this place or take care of this place. And it made me think a lot about this idea of connection to country that Indigenous Aboriginal people talk about a lot. And yeah, it made me wonder that, yeah, imagine what I can see in that surfing community is so strong after 3 at most generations. Imagine what that would feel like after 40,000 or 60,000 years, that connection to country and that connection to place.
yeah.
So I've become, I've spent a lot of time musing on that. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Oh, that's well said. Well
Mm.
said. Beautiful. The Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
I
we have those, a surfer and their favorite break or somewhere they've surfed a lot. We have like the outline. You could show me just a little bit of the outline of a certain headland, or you could show me a little, a few rocks,
yeah.
and I would say, oh, those are the rocks at Lennox Head, or that's probably Angari, or that
Mm,
little bit of rocks here that sits just out off the headland at the pass in Byron Bay.
mm,
So those kind of images are inside us, and more than that, the feeling of the place and the energy of the place. Like we kind of feel that and kind of incorporate that into our very being. So
Yeah.
it's a fascinating thing.
That's fantastic. Well, we've absolutely enjoyed hearing all about the film.
Mm.
I absolutely wish you the best for the opening, the official
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, Thursday the
yeah, this
21st. That's
Tuesday.
in 2 days. It's going to be,
Yeah,
it's on like 50 screens across Australia and New Zealand. Umbrella have been amazing getting it out there. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, the Q&A tour, hopefully, everyone came along and they really enjoyed it. So I think
yeah,
it's the kind of film, and it's not just for surfers. It absolutely isn't just for surfers. It's a cultural history film. It's a story of a cultural history of a modern era of Australia that
yeah.
anyone who's connected with this country or has been connected with this country over the last 50 or 60 years, they're going to recognize, and this film's going to take them right back to
Oh,
something they've lived through and they've grown up through.
I can't wait to see it.
Oh, I
Can't
love it. And on the big
wait.
screen, stunning.
I am.
You know what? Our
Yeah.
color grader, the color grader was Billy Whiteshill, and he was the color grader of Lord of the Rings. And
Oh, really? Oh,
that's how good it looks up on the screen, this
wow.
magnificent history of Australia.
Wow.
Up on the big screen, and and the soundtrack's stunning, incredible. So yeah,
Yeah.
hope everyone can go get along and have a look.
Okay. Well, then we will. We will.
Thanks so much.
Congratulations. And again, thanks for talking to us, Jolan. And it's just been a pleasure
Thanks
for
for
us.
having us on. See you later. Thank you.
Okay. Then. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Bye.